seeing the trends as they're approaching the market, as Amelia and I talked about offline, is really when I like to be in the studio and be able to deliver that news to the listeners. So we have been seeing a shifting market for some time, and it really started at the higher price points where it was very soft. The listings were just sort of sitting, and now it's sort of creeping its way back down. And I have had 4 transactions in the past month or so where we are actually seeing that shifting and that softening impact prices and impact sellers' ability to sell. So about a month or so ago now, I received a call from a client, sort of frantic, and said, I'm having a closing in a couple of weeks. And I just found out I have to bring $53,000 to the closing.
Ouch.
I hear you're a short sale expert. Can you help me? And I said, well, I handle all aspects of real estate, buyers and sellers, of course, and short sales have been a big part of my practice as well. So let me see what I can do. Turned out that this particular client had signed a modification agreement with his lender last year and actually took a deferred interest rate. So they reduced his interest rate voluntarily. He was not delinquent on his loan whatsoever. They just approached him and said, do you want to reduce your interest rate? Who doesn't want to have a lower payment and a lower interest rate? Heck yeah, I want to lower my interest rate. So he signed the modification agreement, not realizing that they took a $67,000 deferment over the interest reduction over the life of the loan. So when his payoff was ordered in anticipation of the closing, that deferment reared its ugly head. And what was particularly confusing, and again, I've seen this happen on multiple occasions now, is that it's not showing up on his monthly statements, Emilio. So this is really scary because as a homeowner, you may not even realize that your modification came saddling with a deferment on the back end of your loan. It's only going to be something that you see when you actually order a mortgage payoff. So I'm really imploring my agents, you need to be really firming up the numbers on a net sheet for your sellers, and as part of that, ordering a payoff, because right now in this shifting market, prices are changing, and if you have clients who are being impacted by these types of modifications or any type of less than standard loan, ordering the payoff is the only way you're going to see it because it's absolutely not on the mortgage statements. There's a lot of costs that if a seller has not gone through the net sheet calculation with their agent, they're not going to know what the costs of sale are. They just think, great, I'm selling my house and I'm going to make $200,000 when the dust clears. Well, where's the basis for that? The payoff is one of the biggest impacts that you have to consider. So a loan modification, as a general rule, is when the bank is willing to change the loan terms for a borrower, usually for their advantage, with reducing an interest rate or fixing an interest rate if they were previously in an adjustable, extending the amortization timeline so that the mortgage payments will be less. And certainly one of the biggest times that we see a modification becoming necessary is if someone has fallen behind on their mortgage. So if they lost their job, they were temporarily unable to make payments, and now they're back on their feet, they may contact the bank, and the bank will take that back end, whatever they were unable to pay for those months or a year, and put it on the back end of the loan with a modification. But again, it's financially driven. The bank is going to look to see if the hardship is over, will they have the opportunity to make the payments going forward, and things of that nature. And frankly, modifications work for hardly anybody, but there are occasions out there.